We are back. It's been over a month since my last video, so I'm sorry for the delay. I have been preoccupied. So let's get started with what we all came here to see, the stock pick competition. Still just barely hanging on that top spot. We got Megan up 28.5% on her Rocket Lab. Followed closely behind, we have Randy with Forgent Power Solutions. Take-Two and ServiceNow also deserve a shout out for being up well over 10%. Now, let's start with a brief recap of the past month and a half. It's been an exciting time for quite a few of my main positions. Rocket Lab led the way, reaching well over 150 a share. That put me just under 120,000 around the 1st of June. And although we had some dips since then, we are sitting comfortably right at that 100K range. This puts our year-to-date total at roughly 15.5%, which is quite reasonable. Let's briefly summarize everything I've done since the last video. Starting with my deposits, I've had 4 paychecks since the last video, so I've deposited 4K into my portfolio since then. I sold my last $75 Rocket Lab Leap for just under 7K, which I then reinvested into a new position, Corning. I think I talked a little bit about Corning in my last video, but I went for this $250 strike price leap for as far out as possible, hoping to capitalize on what could be a slow move into the high 200s. Well, I only had to wait a month as Corning has been killing it this past week. It got all the way up to the 270s before taking a big break today back into the 220s. I'll be looking to cash in on this leap once Corning gets into the 280 range. I typically plan to hold leaps I buy for over a year, but once this one gets well enough into the money, I will need to get rid of it for a variety of reasons. 1, I don't want 20% of my portfolio being Corning, and 2, the strike price is no longer optimal. If I wanted to keep my investment in Corning, I would need to roll this leap out to a higher strike price, and at that point I'd rather invest elsewhere. That was wordy. Okay, let's continue. I bought 200 more shares of Grab, putting me at 1,000 total shares. I bought 50 shares of FPS. I sold a Rivian put for a small $90 gain. I had that massive NVIDIA covered call expire worthless, which was very nice. I was worried during the last video since this one it was in the money, but I made the right call to be patient through earnings to see how the stock reacts. It ended up about $10 below the strike price. I started a position in Lumen Technologies with 38 $15 calls for January 2027. This one is a little short-term and speculative, but it's worth the risk with just a small position. I sold a weekly covered call in both Rocket Lab and Robinhood, which both expired worthless for a gain of roughly $640. I bought a small leap in Zeta, and I'm planning to build my Zeta position out a little bit more in leaps. That brings us to the biggest L of this video. I had bought a Broadcom option to catch the pre-earnings run that did occur, but since I was so distracted that week, I did not realize that earnings was the first week of June, so I did not end up selling that option before it tanked into earnings. I ended up selling it a week or two after earnings for a couple hundred instead of a couple thousand. Huge L, maybe the biggest L of the year, but I will take it as a learning opportunity and pay more attention next time I am making any short-term plays like that. The good news is that my thesis was correct and I would have done well if I would have been paying more attention. Good plan, bad execution. Speaking of short-term plays, the final trade I made since the last video was buying these SoFi options. Definitely not something I want to be putting a lot of money in, but I would like to start capitalizing on these weekly, monthly moves, so I decided to start with SoFi, which has been setting up for a move into the 19s. I'll be selling these options around 19.5 if SoFi sees the recovery I'm expecting. I almost forgot that this is technically the first video where my count is over 6 figures, if just barely. I ended up taking my girlfriend out to a nice dinner to celebrate. She is such a great person, and I don't think I would have made it as far as I have without her. I appreciate everyone's support, and I hope to see you in the next one.